How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And what in the world am I doing? Am I building some kind of big monstrosity? No, I'm actually going to show people how to repair the binding of an omnibus. So, join me. Today I'm not doing an overview of a book or announcing any omnis. Today I'm actually going to do something I've been wanting to do for a little bit that I keep getting asked to do, but what I needed were some examples. So in step my brother and my cousin. So I have my brother's copy of Predator, the original years, and the Captain America Omnibus here by Mark Waid and Ron Garney. This is my cousin's copy. This is a little bit older. He managed to get it at a discounted price. And this one was notorious for having some bad binding. And I'll show you all in a little bit. This one here, I never heard any issues about the binding. But for some reason, this one does have a little bit of the binding coming away from the ribbon. So let me show you exactly what we're going to be able to fix here. And this goes for any omnibus or hardcover that is sewn binding. I'm not talking about trade paperbacks or books that have glued binding. This is mainly for books that are sewn binding and that have that eye or that tube, as some people like to call it. So this is the Captain America one. You can see the page bunches right there coming away from the ribbon. So these bunches are actually supposed to be glued to this. This is the head right here. And they're not. They're coming away from it. So the glue that they use for this, and it's with all of these Captain America Mark Waid Omnis, at least the ones I've seen that have been opened, were notorious for having bad binding. And let me just show you the Predator one, just so you can get a better idea as to what to look for. It's also having a similar issue. Not all the way across, but right here. Enough to bother my brother. And what I want to say about these is that these, let's take the dust jacket off. So that's step number one. You definitely want to take the dust jacket off before fixing any of these books. So the last thing you want is a lot of glue getting on your dust jackets, and then you're going to be walking away pissed off instead of like, oh, I was able to fix this. All right, so here are the joints, and then here are the hinges. So you can see the end sheets, they're fine. And this is more of a cosmetic fix because the book is still being held together. You can see right here. And yes, the ribbon has come off from there. So that's what we're going to fix. And that's usually a good indication that it's going to have some issues whenever you see the page bunches like this. So if you see them like having this sharp angle like this, it's usually going to be an indication that this binding might have some issues. And again, it's being held together, and not just held together by the end pages. Here's the hinge right there, but the end sheets aren't holding everything together. But we're looking at the tail right now. But they are still being held together by some of the glue that's up here. And of course, you can see the page. Here, let's do this so you can get a closer look as to what all these pages, or leaves rather, look like together when they're in bunches. So a leaf is usually this right here. This is a leaf, and it is attached to another leaf, and all of them together are put into bunches. Usually about 4, I think, is what they put on a master sheet. 4 to like 6, sometimes 8, and sometimes up to 16. And all of those are supposed to be attached to this right here, this inner spine of the ribbon right there. So it's supposed to kind of give you that flex. So when I look at Omnis and I'm like, this is what the eye looks like, yeah, this isn't what it's supposed to look like. There have been some books that have been printed this way, but usually the ones that I found that have the most issues are those custom Omnis that people have seen on my channel. For Marvel, I think the notorious ones are this Captain America Omnibus, by Mark Waid, and the Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales, the very first printing of that first omnibus. So it's a rarity these days, especially, to see something like this. And I think this is just one copy, because I don't think anybody has emailed me about in printing error with theirs. So what we're going to do is fix these, hopefully. So the first order of business is the glue. I'm going to put a link in the description where you can get this glue. This is my favorite glue. This is the one that I fix books over and over with, and I've never had an issue with it. This is the pH neutral PVA. It's professional quality, and it is kind of a fast drying glue. So the next thing is I want to let you know, you want to do this all in one sitting. You don't want to put some glue here from the top and then come back hours later from the bottom because your glue would have dried. And I usually let these sit for about 24 hours, but I'm jumping ahead. This is one of the things you're going to need. The next thing is a brush, or you can get one of those little skinny paint brushes that you use for watercolor paintings or your kit brushes. And that's to get the glue in here. Or I've used these kind of skewers. So these little bamboo sticks are wonderful to get in between the books because you want to get in as much glue as possible. But there's also something as too much glue too, which we kind of try to stay away from. So again, this is mainly for that type of binding issue. This isn't for broken spines or anything like that. This is just an easy approach and the way that I do it. I'm not sure how anybody else does it. A big shout out to the Marvel Masterworks forum. 15 years ago, I think somebody on there put the step-by-step instructions on how to do this, and now here I am, showing you all. So let's start with the Captain America Omnibus, and I'll talk about why the clamp here in a little bit. And the other thing you want to do is get newspaper or like Billy's and K-Lax's instructions everywhere. That's so you don't get glue on your table, because this is the moneymaker. This is where I make videos, or your bed, or wherever you're doing it. I strongly suggest doing it on a hard surface instead of a bed, or you get a piece of cardboard like this because that's where we're going to be putting the books. The other thing you're going to need is something like this, a little piece of cardboard away from your main cardboard, so you can put the glue on this. Little paper plate will work. I just didn't want to go back upstairs because I have a bunch of these toy cardboard boxes laying around everywhere. So here we start. Let's move the action over here to keep it away from the book, and you can have a better look as to what I'm doing here. You want to shake up the glue a little bit, and again, this is some pretty fast drying glue, but not too worry. Like, it's not a lot. Like, it doesn't dry that fast, rather. But I did want to give people a heads up that it does dry fast, and to do this all in one sitting. So you squirt some glue here. There we go. I probably will be skipping some of this ahead because nobody wants to see me squirt glue. That's a really weird Patreon tier. Alright. Remember when I said to take the dust jacket off? That's why. So we're going to need a little more than that, but that's the first step. Get your brush out. And like I said, you could use any type of brush. I don't recommend putting the glue directly in the book. I think somebody, whenever I was on that forum, mentioned doing that, and they were like, oh, that was a mistake, I shouldn't have done it. So just get one of those little cheap little paint brushes that will work from your kids or yourself if you're a painter. And what you want to do is you want to open up the book like this. Keep it away from the glue, and get some of this glue. Oh my gosh, I feel like Bob Ross. That is really relaxing. Maybe that's why he did it for so long. And put it right there in that area where you need it. So you want to get it in there. Just like that. Make sure you get that area covered. And you're going to get some excess glue. So paper towels are also very important. And just grab some more glue all over that area right there. So the important thing is to go down as far as you can, because this is going all the way across, and that's why I have these little skewers or bamboo sticks. You can find longer ones that will work. And make sure you watch the glues on your hand, so you don't want to get any on the book. So keeping some paper towels next to you or some kind of cloth is very important. So with this, you can just put it in like so, into the book like this. And that gets it all over in that area. And you want to put a good amount in. Like so. And then just keep grabbing some more glue. And we're going to do this from the other side too. And again, any of the excess glue that comes off, that's why you got to be really careful when doing this, you can just wipe up with a piece of cloth or paper towel. I myself more worried about the pages, because the last thing I want is the glue to be accidentally put in between the pages of the books. So again, we're going to be doing it from this angle right here, coming at it from here. So start it with the brush and just putting it in there as far as it can go. Most of the time I use these little things right here to make sure I go halfway through the book. And it's a long process. It's not, hey, sit here and squirt some glue and hope for the best. It is a long process of getting the glue in there. And I like to get them in the ridges like this, because that's dried glue is what we're looking at already. And again, I've seen people do this, just squirt the glue in there, but I don't really recommend that because it could run all the way to the bottom and you don't want that. That could cause a mess. And try not to get any glue down here, because what could happen is this ribbon can get glued to the inner spine right there, and then you'll have to take a little razor blade or something to cut it from there. But try not to get it down there. Just get it all over here and as much in as you can. Put a little bit more and we'll fast forward. Alright, now you close the book up. You want to make sure that you got it nice and tight up there. And any excess glue, so it doesn't get on the pages or stick to the pages, just wipe it while you can. And same thing over on this side. Again, keeping it away from that down there. Now, what I've seen people do, and I don't like this, but I get it. You take a clamp and you put t-shirt or a towel around it and you clamp it on your book. Because the idea is to keep the book shut like this with pressure here and pressure from both sides and from the top if you can. What I like to do is actually use my bookshelves for something other than just storing books. So I put the book in here nice and tight and I fit it snugly in there like so. And I use the books to keep the book intact. And like I said, I let it dry for 24 hours. Make sure you clean up that excess glue, again, because the last thing you need is glue on your other books. But this is the way that I've done it for years, and it's always worked, so knock on wood, it will work this time. Now it's the Predator's time, and something that I'm going to show you is the tail is more detached from here. So the ribbon's detached there, more so than the head. The head only has that side detached. So we're going to use less glue, but still the same idea. So time for this, and a brand new skewered, one of these little poking sticks. And just use the little sticks like this, or a small brush to get the glue in there. Because that's the point of this, to get the glue into these grooves and the ridges. And again, wiping the excess glue away from here and the pages of the books. I'm just skipping that process. And there you go. All right, and again, wiping away any excess glue with a handy paper towel or piece of cloth. And then doing the same thing with the tail part right here. So there you go. Okay. So I've kind of fast forwarded a little bit, but you get the idea of putting glue in there. What you don't want to see is a bunch of glue come out. Like, that's why I said do it little by little. Do it with the brush or do it with the poker here, because if you have a lot of glue, then that can mess up your pages right here, and you don't want that. So do it little by little. Make sure you keep the glue going in there, and make sure to keep it under control by wiping away anything before the glue dries, because once it's dried, then you'll have to crack it open. So let's finish this, and then we'll put it into its own little cubby hole. So much like the other one, we're done with this one. We're going to close it up and push this up against it. Like I said, I've seen people use clamps. I've seen people use books. They don't even use the cubby hole, and put a book on top to give it some pressure down there, which is a great idea. I just worry about this part, not the forage, but this part of the board getting damaged. I'm very weird like that. And then, yeah, making sure that's tight. Keep it close, and we'll take it to its own little area. So I'm going to put it in between here, And both of these are going to dry, I'd say no more than 24 hours. 24 hours should do it. We're going to come back and visit it again tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see how they look. All right. Got both of the books off the shelf. One thing I was going to say is I could not find my paintbrush the other day. So I didn't want to steal my kids. But this is something that I think would be better to use than the skewers I was using or that big brush. I like using that big brush because it puts the right amount of glue in there. With this, it takes forever. But you do want to take your time with this. Now, I brought my X-Acto knife just in case that glue we used too much and it went and glued the ribbon and the spine together. So let's take a look. Now, one thing I already did, skip some steps, is stretch the spine again. And I've shown people how to do that. You want to do that because the glue will start cracking and it'll start curving. Or at least it's supposed to start curving. All right. So let's look and see. Moment of truth. Here we have the Predator Omnibus. Remember how it was all over here? It was detached. And this is that area I was talking about. Because sometimes if you use too much glue, some of it will go down here. So you want an X-Acto knife or a little razor blade to cut right along here to detach this from this. So you don't want to cut too deep because you don't want to cut into the board of the book. But there we go. That looks a lot better. Now my brother can thank me. And let's look at my cousins. All right, moment of truth with this one here. There we go. All right, that's what we want to see. We want to see that eye right there open up like that. That's the way it's supposed to be. All the bunches on the ribbon. And make sure there's no glue down here so it doesn't get stuck to the spine. Let's flip it around to kind of get a view of the top of the book here. Oh, yes, baby. Talk to me. That's what I'm talking about. So let's do another one from the bottom here. And now lifting it up from the bottom. Looks like it might be coming up a little bit right there, but I don't know. Maybe in time we'll need to put a little more glue on there. So it's it's all attached now to the ribbon and staying put. We let it dry for 24 hours, and that's what you want to see. They don't make ribbons like they used to, and I don't want to sound like an old man, but they really don't. So a lot of it is just there for cosmetic reasons. So there you go. I hope I was able to help you out in case you have one of those notorious Miles Morales books that came out, the very first printing, or this Captain America, or you have one of these one-off Omnis that for some reason needs that extra glue. Again, that is how to repair this particular problem. That's different than like the hinges here coming off and losing this loose end paper right there. So that's a different kind of repair. But that's all I have. If you have any more questions, please leave your questions down below. Smash that like button and check out our other videos. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. And keep those spines healthy. That's so ridiculous. It sounds like a freaking chiropractor.